Ever heard of a lawyer getting into serious trouble not for what they filed, but for filing it too many times? It sounds a little strange, doesn't it? Well, there's a name for that practice: forum shopping. And that's what we're going to break down today.
I mean, think about it. Filing documents and lawsuits, that's kind of what lawyers do for a living. But it turns out you can overdo it. There is a line, and if you cross it, the consequences can be pretty severe. We're going to look at one lawyer who found out the hard way exactly where that line is.
All right, so let's set the scene. This whole story didn't start with some big, dramatic crime. Nope. It kicked off with a really strange accusation that popped up right in the middle of a completely separate court case. So you've got our two main players, Attorney Go and Attorney Teruel. They were already on opposite sides, battling it out in court, but then, out of the blue, Attorney Go files this new complaint. And get this, it had nothing to do with the case they were arguing. It was all about Attorney Teruel's professional conduct.
And here we get to the heart of it. The accusation wasn't about lying or stealing money, it was about forum shopping. Now that might sound like you're looking for a good deal, but in the legal world, it's a huge no-no. It basically means you're filing the same case in different venues, hoping one of them will give you the result you want.
To really get what went down here, we've got to look at the timeline. And let me tell you, things started moving very, very fast. Okay, so check this out. It starts in April, when Attorney Go files a complaint. Then, fast forward to June 21st, Attorney Teruel's client files a complaint back. But, and this is the key part, the very next day, Attorney Teruel himself files his own countercomplaint. It was this rapid-fire 1-2 punch that set off all the alarm bells.
And this, right here, is the smoking gun. When you put the two complaints side by side, they're practically photocopies. Both of them were prepared by Attorney Teruel. Both accused Attorney Go of the exact same misconduct, and they even cited the very same rules. The Supreme Court later confirmed they were substantially the same. So one lawyer, two nearly identical cases, filed one day apart. It definitely raises some eyebrows.
Now, Attorney Teruel, of course, had his side of the story. He basically said, hey, wait a minute, I wasn't trying to hide anything. In my own complaint, I actually mentioned that my client had already filed a similar one. He argued that this disclosure proved he was acting in good faith, not trying to pull a fast one on the court.
So the issue gets sent for review. And this is where it gets really interesting, because two different legal bodies looked at the exact same facts and came to two totally different conclusions.
So, on one hand, you have the Integrated Bar of the Philippines, the IBP. They agreed it was forum shopping, but because Attorney Teruel mentioned the other case, they figured it wasn't willful. So their recommendation? Just a warning. A slap on the wrist, really. But then, the Office of the Bar Confidant, or OBC, saw things very differently. They said, hold on, he prepared both of them. Disclosing it doesn't erase the intent to file two identical cases. Their recommendation was much harsher, a 6-month suspension from practicing law.
So you have to wonder, who had it right? A simple warning or a serious suspension? With two conflicting recommendations on the table, there was only one place this could go for a final decision.
And so the whole matter landed on the desk of the Supreme Court of the Philippines for them to settle it once and for all.
First, the court laid down the law, giving the official definition of forum shopping. And the key phrase here is right at the end, for the purpose of obtaining a favorable judgment. That's what it's all about. It's an attempt to game the system by giving yourself more than one bite at the apple.
And then they made a really crucial point. They said it doesn't matter if the court formally accepts the case or gives it a number. The violation happens at the very moment a lawyer files those multiple complaints. Just the act of filing is the offense. The damage is done the instant you submit the paperwork.
The court's logic was crystal clear. First, they confirmed the complaints were identical and that Attorney Teruel was behind both. Second, they saw a clear intent to get an unfair edge. Why else file two cases? Third, and this is a killer point, they turned his defense against him. They said his disclosure didn't prove good faith, it actually proved he knew exactly what he was doing. And finally, they pointed out that this kind of behavior just wastes everyone's time and clogs up an already busy court system.
And with that, the court handed down its penalty. A 6-month suspension from the practice of law. A clear, serious consequence for Attorney Teruel's actions.
So why are we digging into this one specific case? Because it's a really powerful lesson in legal ethics and the massive responsibilities that lawyers carry on their shoulders.
You see, this wasn't just about breaking one obscure little rule. The Supreme Court found that Attorney Teruel's actions went against the very core of his profession.
He violated his oath and he broke multiple rules designed to ensure fairness, efficiency, and respect for the legal system.
Ultimately, this rule against forum shopping isn't just a technicality. It's a shield. It protects our courts from getting overwhelmed, and it makes sure people can't manipulate the system by filing the same case over and over until they finally get the answer they want. It's all about keeping the whole process honest.
And that brings us to the final, crucial question this case leaves us with. Lawyers are officers of the court, sworn to uphold the law. So if they're the ones bending the very rules designed to protect the system, who will be left to respect them? Something important to think about. Thanks for joining me.